Yep, we're live.
All right. So, first of all, guys, thank you for attending our Team India 2017 review. And also thanks for the guys around the world for attending on Christmas Day. So, on the broadcast, we have Akshay in North London in UK. How are you doing, Akshay?
All good, all good. Good to be here.
We have Rishi late in the afternoon in India. How are you, Rishi, in Delhi?
All good, mate. Happy Christmas to everyone.
And we have Rajul all the way down under in Australia in Adelaide. Good evening, Rajul. How are you?
Pretty good. Merry Christmas to all.
Good stuff. So look, thanks once again. Appreciate you all coming on Christmas Day. I know you have time with your family, so I really do appreciate taking the time to do this. So for all the Indian cricket fans watching our live broadcast, thank you for joining us on Christmas Day. Merry Christmas to you all. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to do a quick review of Team India's 2017 performance, taking into consideration the home series that we've had, the three big series we've had at home, also the Champions Trophy that we've had. We're going to look at sort of Team India's batting and the bowling and the all-rounder slots, and to put some context to sort of our own expectations and what we can expect from Team India going into 2018 year and the big sort of three series that we have got coming up in 2018. So to kick off with, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the Test match performance in 2017. And I wanted to start off with the batting side of things. And so wanted to take a view on sort of how we reviewed 2017 across the Test matches at home and the ones that we played away, obviously. And think about sort of how well we are prepared for what's to come in 2018 and taking into consideration the three big away series we've got. Do we think we've got the right balanced batting lineup to really perform and more importantly, win some away series? Let's start off with Akshay. Akshay, what's your thoughts taking into consideration, the sort of Test match series that we've had in 2017, home and away? And I appreciate we haven't had any big series away, but how well prepared do you think we are going into the 2018 three big series that we've got?
Well, I think we can't be any more prepared. We've had a really successful year. We've got what used to be a young squad, now a very mature squad that are ready to take on the world. You look at the guys that we've got in the squad. They've played enough cricket now to go abroad and win three away series. If we're ever going to do it, now's the time to do it. We've got all the momentum, all the confidence in the world. We're on a streak that doesn't look like it's going to end anytime soon. There's still a couple of sort of spots in the side which is up for debate. So there's places up for grabs. People are still fighting for their place. But I think none of us will know how we're going to perform until we actually do it. Three big away series. We haven't been to England and South Africa for a number of years now. And if we're going to do it, now's the time to do it, and we've got the squad to do so.
And do you think that going into sort of the South Africa series, which is literally sort of less than 10 days away now, do you think that we have a settled sort of top 6, 7 batting lineup? Who would you have in your top 6, 7? Who's impressed you in 2017 that makes you think, do you know what, these guys have got guaranteed slots going into next year?
I think the two places up for discussion, first of all, is the opener slots. There's 3 openers, 2 slots available, obviously. You've got Vijay, Rahul and Dhawan. Do you want the left-right-hand combination at the top of the order? Or, in my opinion, do you want the 2 best batsmen for Test cricket, which is Vijay and Rahul, as far as I'm concerned? But Dhawan gives you an extra option. Left-right-hand combination always works well at the top of the order. And then the next slot in the batting order that's up for discussion is lower down. I think Pujara picks himself, Kohli. Rahane is a discussion point as well. He's not been in great form recently. He's a class batsman. Do we continue giving him a chance, or do we say take some time out of the team and give a youngster a chance? I'm not sure. Obviously, you and I have had many debates about Hardik Pandya in the order as well, and we don't agree on that at all. Do you play the extra bowler, or do you pay the extra batsman? Rohit Sharma's looking in great form in limited overs, and he should walk in the side. The hitman, he's playing some fantastic cricket at the moment, and he'll fill in the slot at number 6.
Okay, Rishi, bringing you into this, I mean, Ravi Shastri speaks really highly of KL Rahul, and so does Virat Kohli. They really rate him, and they see him as a really exciting talent. Do you think he's done enough in 2017 to sort of secure one of those sort of opening slots, or even in the middle order. What's your thoughts? I mean, it's interesting because Graham Smith yesterday was talking about how he would have KL Rahul coming in number 6 spot, and that's how crucial that spot is in playing in South Africa. What's your thoughts in terms of the Indian batting side, taking into consideration 2017 and looking forward to 2018?
Rahul for the top slot, because I don't think so. Getting him into the middle order, he'll have to change his game from attack to defend, and then he'll have to play according to the team score that they've been scoring. So I think KL Rahul is more suitable for us at the top order. He has his natural game opening for us, and I think like Akshay said, going with the right hand left hand combination. I think there are times when in a test match we would need someone opening with a left-right combination. I think I would preferably go with Dhawan and KL Rahul opening the innings for us, be it South Africa, England, or Australia.
Okay. And when you so if you're saying that, are we saying that Vijay and Dhawan are secured as the opening slots? And is that what you're saying?
I mean, I would want Vijay to open as well, but I see KL Rahul as a more technically sound player, and he gets on a player who can score quick runs when the time requires. But then we've seen Murli Vijay takes a lot of time to get onto the scoring, which might add to a pressure if there are wickets falling on the other end. So I think KL Rahul and Dhawan would be, for me, the opening pair going down to South Africa.
Okay, interesting. So we've already got one who's in the KL Rahul camp from an opening slot. Raju, what about yourself, Raju? What's your thoughts? Would you go with the tried and trusted Vijay, who's never let us down in recent times, sort of away from home? He's always kind of had that calming influence, as Shastri and Kohli say. Or would you go with a bit more of the exciting, dashing KL Rahul, who, when he hits form, he's pretty phenomenal, right? What's your thoughts?
I would definitely go for Dhawan and Vijay as my opening pair, and the reason behind is more around the mental strength. You need talented people in the team, and our squad is full of that. On paper, our team looks really, really, really good, but to win series overseas, you need that extra mental strength as well, mental toughness. And unfortunately, KL Rahul didn't impress me at all in the Adelaide Test he played. He gave away his wicket quite cheaply. As compared to a few other players, Manish Pandey, who did really well, the one chance he got in SCG. So I think KL Rahul has a lot of talent, not taking anything away from him, but I think he's not yet ready to be the permanent opener in my list at least. So I'll go with Dhawan and Vijay to start with. And if you look at, we're talking about 2017 performances. Apart from West Indies Tour and Champions Trophy, which was pretty much where the pitches are all managed by ICC, so they give you a batting track. It's not the kind of wickets you're going to get in your bilateral series. You can't really look at the performance of players and expect them to do the same in South Africa, Australia, and England. So you need to look for a performance of those players when they were there last time. So players like Rahane, Vijay, Dhawan, who performed last time when they were in England and in Australia, you need to give them a chance, and they should be your soldiers at the front, supported by people like KL Rahul and others who are pretty much act like a backup. And once you're in a strong situation in a series, you can give chance to other players to learn, because they won't be able to upskill themselves or get that mental toughness unless they are in the middle performance. But if you ask me, my 11, it would be Dhawan and Vijay in the opening squad for that.
Okay, good points. I mean, I think we have to take into consideration the conditions in Australia, South Africa, and England. I think that's going to obviously have a massive influence on who you pick. I think it's fair to say that Pujara, secures his number 3 slot for the Test matches, and obviously number 4 is pretty much secure as well. So if we say the top 4, by all accounts, I think unfortunately Rishi, the majority says that it's going to be Vijay and Dhawan. But if we say that Vijay Dhawan's number 1 and 2 with Pujara and Kohli 3 and 4, who makes up that 5th spot? Because that by no means is a secured secured slot. What's your thoughts, Akshay?
Well, the obvious name that comes to mind is Rahane, and I think Rahane's been with Team India for a number of years now. We've sort of groomed him to have that slot. He is out of form at the moment, but I think he does deserve an opportunity to sort of redeem himself in the away series. What we don't want is someone that's been part of the Test squad for a number of years now. As soon as he hits a bad patch of form, we drop him, and he's obviously been working. The whole team are excited to play away from home and prove to everyone, prove to the whole world that they're good enough to win away series, and he should be a part of that, and at least start with him. If during the series he's not scoring runs, then you'll have a backup player to bat at 5. But I think he definitely deserves a role, and we all know he's good enough. He's an absolute class batsman, and disregarding form, if you're picking your best 11, he's in that 11. He's one of the top 6 batsmen, Test batsmen in India, and he should be in the side.
Yeah, I think you make a really good point there. I think years gone by, the mentality of kind of the Indian selectors was that you fail a couple of times and you're out the squad, right? I think that kind of mentality has changed now, and I think that class always prevails. And I think Rahane has proved again and again overseas, particularly, that if you stick with him, then he will deliver for you. So I agree with you. Rahul, Rishi, do you agree with that? Do we go with Rahane to start off?
Definitely, I would definitely have in my playing 11. I think he's a very good player when it comes to technique and the temperament there. I think just one bad series doesn't define that he's not fit enough to be in the team. I think I would definitely have him coming in batting after Kohli. Yeah.
Cool. Raju?
Agree with Akshay and Rishi. Rahane would be my pick as well. He's done pretty well in the past series overseas, and he deserves a chance in the team, definitely.
Perfect. Well, I think we're getting to a point now in the Test side, at least for 2018, where the most debates are kind of happened on our forums, right? So, do we go with 6 batsmen? Do we go with 5, frontline bowlers? Do we go with a couple of all-rounders? I think the first thing I would say is that in all the years I've been following Team India, and I'm sure for you guys as well, I don't think we've had this level of bench strength, and we're kind of almost embarrassed of the riches that we've got. We could almost pick a second 11. It would still be a pretty strong competitive second 11, across from top to bottom as well, right? So I think it's a good debate to have, but I'm pretty torn. Myself and Akshay have battled away around Hardik Pandya. I believe he's a tremendous talent, which we need to back. Regardless of his performances, we've got to give him time. We've got to give him that exposure, and that's how he gets the experience. But I do understand Akshay's argument as well. What's your thoughts before I come to Akshay, because I know his opinion already? What's your thoughts, Rishi, on the kind of number 6 slot? Do we go with a Rohit Sharma? Do we go with an all-rounder? What's your kind of thinking in that number 6 slot?
Well, I think depending on the conditions in South Africa, also keeping in mind that it's going to be a long tour for us, 3 tests and then the 1 days and T20s. I think it's going to be very important to see how Rohit Sharma or Pandya performs, whoever gets a chance in the first test, depending on the conditions. But if given a chance, I would have Hardik Pandya in the squad, given that he gives us an option of an all-rounder, fast bowling all-rounder that we are looking for a long time in conditions like South Africa. Also might be a handy batsman. But then with the given form in the recent past, I think it's a bit 50-50, but I would still go with Hardik Pandya.
Okay, great. So I've got one more person in my Hardik Pandya camp. Raju, what about you? I think, I do see the argument of having that extra kind of bowler stroke batsman. But, South Africa's a pretty tough place, and it does find out players as well, Cape Town's the first Test match, and, historically, Cape Town takes spin late. So if we are going to have an all-rounder, is there an argument to suggest that we go with a second spinning all-rounder, go with someone like a Jadeja, or do we back our pacers, do we back our batsmen to put on a big score and back our pacers with one spinner to take, 20 wickets to win a match? Well, what's your thoughts?
I mean, if as Rishi said, depends on the track that would be prepared, the conditions for the first test. But as you just said, I'll probably pick Pandya and have an extra spinner in the team, because South African team, the English team and current Australian team, all 3 teams struggle against good spinners, and we have rank 1 and rank 2 in our squad. So why not to have a spinner and have Pandya to make the five bowlers. So if spinner doesn't perform, you have a genuine all-rounder who can be your fast bowler and a decent there. Yeah.
So your thoughts are basically to go with two frontline pacers, to go with two spinners, and have Hardik Pandya take up the third.
That's right. That's right.
All right, I like the balance
At
of
least
that.
one spinner, but I would probably go with two spinners to show something different to the teams.
All right, great. Well, I've had Akshay on mute for a reason. I'm sure he was itching to jump in.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts, Akshay? What's your thinking in terms of the makeup on the side?
Well, it's quite interesting. So, when you first posed the question, you said Hardik Pandya at 6 or Rohit Sharma at 6. I think the debate is having Hardik Pandya at 7 or a spinner at 7. I think Rohit Sharma takes the number 6 spot as far as I'm concerned. Hardik Pandya, if he is in the side, he should be in it as a bowling all-rounder rather than a batting all-rounder. We know what he can do in the limited overs format, but I think it's a high risk having him at a number 6 spot, a genuine batsman spot over more technically sound test proven batsman. In terms of bowling as well, you know my opinion. I rate him very highly in limited overs, but I don't think he's got the technique as a batsman to be a test player. Also with the ball, I don't think he's got enough magic with the ball to be a frontline test bowler. Yeah, he'll be useful as a fifth bowler, but to go in with two frontline seamers and him as the third seamer in South Africa doesn't fill me with confidence.
Fair enough.
As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned. No.
No, go on, please.
No, I was going to say, as far as I'm concerned, to win any test match, you need 20 wickets. And, it's going to be a long old series. The bowler's going to be bowling a lot of overs. And to have Hardik Pandya filling in with lots of those overs, as far as I'm concerned, it'll be harder to get 20 wickets than if we put in a genuine seam bowler, ahead of him. I'm all for two spinners. I think wherever we go, we should try and fit in two spinners because we play to our strength. We've got the best spinners in the world in our side, and we should definitely use that. And a lot of nations we play aren't great at playing spin, especially world-class spinners. If I was picking the side, I'd pick 3 frontline seamers and 2 spinners.
Okay, so your suggestion is that we have Rohit Sharma at position 6. And then the debate is, do we go with an extra spinner or an extra pacer, right? Because
exactly.
Saha's got spot 7.
Saha's in, yeah, of course. Always forget about Saha.
Yeah. So Saha's number 7. So who agrees with Rohit Sharma in at 6? Rishi, what's your thoughts?
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
So who do you agree that Rohit Sharma to take the 6th batting spot?
I think, I mean, depending on the conditions, if requires, Rohit Sharma is our best bet coming down the order at number 6 and followed by Saha. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Raju, what about yourself?
As Akshay said, we need to take 20 wickets, and we all know to win the test match in overseas conditions, you need to get the opposition out. If you put Rohit and then Rhythm and Saha, who has to be in the team, we're left with only 4 spots for bowlers. So we're going with only 4 main bowlers, right? If somebody gets injured, who's going to be that 4th bowler? Will it be Virat Kohli or Rohit Sharma? Both would be really rusty. If that happens, we are in trouble, right? It would be really hard for us to take 20 wickets. So I would probably go with 4 main bowlers and 5th one as Hardik Pandya to assist. Whether he performs well or not, at least he will give rest to the main bowlers. So I think Rohit has to stay out in the first test, and I'll take Pandya instead of him.
Okay. I think we've got 2 in the Rohit Sharma camp at the moment and 2 in the Hardik Pandya camp. So let's just summarise where we're at. We've got Dhawan and Vijay at 1 and 2, Pujara at 3, Kohli at 4, Rahane at 5, and then we've got Rohit Sharma at 6 at the moment. I'm probably leaning towards that a little bit as well, with a question mark of whether we have Hardik Pandya or an extra spinner at 7. We have Saha at 7. Then a question mark: do we have an extra spinner or do we go with Hardik Pandya? So, in terms of the pacers, what are your guys' thoughts? Akshay, from the pacers' point of view, again, we've got a pretty good choice, right? So, we've got potentially 4 or 5 really good frontline pace strokes seam bowlers to choose from. And I think Ishant Sharma is putting up a pretty good case as well. About probably a year ago, he wasn't even in the picture, and he bowled with really good aggression, I thought, in the last series. And and he's always performed sort of overseas. He's kind of your in-your-face fast bowler with a bit of aggression, which we kind of lack a little bit in our current lineup. I feel if you don't have him in the side, who is going to be that kind of aggressive frontline bowler that takes it to the batsman? What's your thoughts in terms of our pacers? Who would you go with?
Well, I think first of all, it's important to say how fortunate we are at the moment with the seam bowlers we got. Throughout the years, it was always the biggest headache talking about seam bowlers because we were never filled with inspiration. With the bowlers we previously had. Whereas now we're in a position where we've got some genuine quality fast bowlers that I'm quite confident going to conditions that will suit them and cause havoc. I think Bhuvi walks into the team. In my opinion, our best bowler. And the other two slots will be filled. Well, in my opinion, Mohammad Shami. I think he's a classic test bowler. He bowls quick. He moves the ball sideways, which is always important in overseas conditions. And the final slot essentially will be between Ishant Sharma. Bumrah's now in the test squad, which is quite interesting, and perhaps Umesh Yadav. But as you said, Ishant Sharma's bowling really, really well. He's got experience in quite an inexperienced bowling attack overseas, so he's someone that can lead the line, and he's played in South Africa, he's played Australia, he's got wickets, and he'll provide a lot of advice, a lot of encouragement to the other fast bowlers who are out there learning. So I'd pick Ishant Sharma. He's a little bit more reliable than Umesh Yadav that can leak runs and can become inconsistent.
Yeah, I think we all agree that Bhuvi and Shami are a shoo-in for 1 and 2. Rajul, you've probably seen quite a lot of Ishant Sharma in Australia, right? I mean, I believe that he's performed and played some of his best cricket actually in Australia. I remember a couple of series where he's been so aggressive there, particularly to people like Ricky Ponting, and he really took it to some of the best batsmen in the world in top of their game. What's your thoughts on kind of Ishant Sharma stroke Umesh Yadav? Have you got one way or another that with those two bowlers that you'd go with, or?
I'll definitely go with Ishant. As you said, he performed really well overseas. And if you look at the other bowlers we have, Shami is another one who performed well in Australia throughout the World Cup, before in the series as well. And Bhuvneshwar Kumar, our best bowler right now in terms of swinging the ball both ways. But again, it comes down to how many spots we have. It's a really good discussion, or the options we have, to choose from the best players. But if we're putting Pandya at number 7, then either we're going with 3 pacers and a spinner, or 2 pacers and 2 spinners. That's the combination we need to choose. If we go with 3 pacers, then Shami, Bhuvneshwar Kumar, and Ishant would be my pick, along with probably Jadeja instead of Ashwin. But if you're going with 2 spinners, then I'll have Ashwin in the team and probably drop Bhuvneshwar Kumar. I'll probably go with Shami and Ishant.
Okay, that's a big shout. All right, Rishi, what about yourself? Who would you go with? And look, as I said to you guys earlier, I think a lot of it depends on the conditions and the pitches we're playing on. But Cape Town, who would be your frontline pacers?
I mean, if you're going with a 3-1 combination, fast bowler to spinners, I think Ishant Sharma, Bhuvneshwar Kumar, and Mohammad Shami with Jadeja. So I would agree with Rahul what he said, because I think Jadeja can be a handy batsman as well, more than Ashwin, that I feel. And if we go in with 2 fast bowlers and 2 spinners, then obviously Jadeja and Ashwin are the spinners, and Ishant Sharma and Bhuvneshwar Kumar as a seamers.
Okay, good stuff. All right, well, look, I think we're pretty much almost there. I think we've got a couple of debatable positions. I think the decision on those positions would be very much down to the pitch, the conditions, where we're playing, etc., right? Does the wicket take turn later on historically? And that may influence, obviously, the decision we make in terms of who we pick. But I think we're the general consensus of probably 9 out of the 11 slots. I think we're fairly consistent, like probably most Indian cricket fans out there. I think they kind of, to start off in the first Test match anyway, I think those players pick themselves, and I think the rest is just down to the conditions. I want to make a reference to sort of Virat Kohli and his captainship, over 2017, and how you think he's developed as a captain, because this is probably the first full year he's had as a captain across all formats, if that makes sense. How impressed have you been in terms of how he's led the side and his style of captainship and some of his decision making in terms of rotation of bowlers and where he's played batsmen? Okay, let's start with yourself. What's your kind of thoughts been on Virat Kohli, the captain?
I've been really, really impressed. I remember when Dhoni was coming to the end of his sort of Test career, lots of people were talking about Virat Kohli as captain. Has he got the temperament? Is he too aggressive? Is he molded well to be a captain and a leader? And I think he's proved to everyone that he's good enough. He's smart enough. He's made excellent decisions. You know, he's got the respect of the dressing room. He's got the respect of the fans and everyone worldwide as well. I think it couldn't have gone better for him as a captain, and he's proving to the world he's an excellent captain, and it hasn't affected his batting either, which is always an important thing when you pick your best player as your captain. Sometimes it can affect the performance. You look at Joe Root at the moment; he's really struggling with the bat in the Ashes, perhaps because he's a captain, the pressure. Whereas Kohli's the kind of guy that thrives under pressure. And I think he's absolutely the right man. If we're going to go to away series and win, we need aggression, we need confidence, and he's got all the confidence in the world. So I can't fault him at all.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, one question I have for Rajul perhaps is that last time he got the opportunity to captain India and Australia. It was kind of obviously what happened with Dhoni, and obviously him retiring. He really grew as an individual just in that one Test match, if that made sense, right? What do you think you've seen in Virat Kohli that we perhaps didn't see a couple of years ago when he wasn't captain? What do we now see in him as an individual?
Mm-hmm. As Akshay said, he's done all the right things you expect from a captain. Even in his performance, he performs really well as a captain, and that drops onto the team as well. One thing I really like and where he has matured enough is to give youngsters a chance to more experiment with the team, taking more chances, and that aggression that we see him in him as a player. Now you can see that in the team as well. We don't go for draw, we go for win. When it's harder situation, everyone says in the morning that it's going to be a draw. Sometimes you see that team is really going towards the victory or pitching the game back in their direction. So that's the Virat Kohli touch that we see on the team now, and he has matured in that aspect that he's motivating others as well. In the past, he was taking the charge on his own, but now his aggression, his way of doing stuff is rubbing on to the team, and he's managed to motivate others in the same direction. Yeah, so he's doing well.
Brilliant. The last point I wanted to make on Virat Kohli was the kind of brand of cricket that he's kind of brought to sort of the Indian team now. Again, like most of you guys, we seem to be playing a really, like you said, Raju, a really aggressive style of cricket where we think about the win before anything else. Ravi Shastree talks about Virat Kohli being a fearless cricketer and how, as a leader, he's kind of brought this to the Indian cricket team. How have you seen him impact other players in the squad, Rishi? When you think about sort of how he's nurtured some of the other players in the squad, who do you think's really benefited from Virat Kohli, the captain in the squad, do you think?
Well, I think with Kohli becoming the captain in the last few years, he's not just changed the perception of how the players think when on the field, it's also their fitness and the improvement that we've seen in their games. I think he's the one who stepped up to the fitness levels, and he's motivated everyone to get to a certain level. And we all know, players like Yuvraj Singh and Suresh Raina, the reason why they're not able to get into the team because they couldn't clear the yo-yo test. So I think he set a standard for every single player, irrespective of their past performance or the standard that they've set. So he has made it very clear that if you want to get into the team, you have to have set standards. And I think, it has to be started somewhere. And going into the 2018 season, it's a long season for us. And I think fitness and it's going to be a very important factor for every player in the field.
Yeah, I think the key point you made there around standards. I think for me personally, I think that's what he's brought to this squad. He's raised the level of standards in all aspects, whether it's your fitness levels, whether it's your own expectation as a cricketer in terms of what you should be like on the field, from a fielding perspective, from an aggression perspective. He sets the tone, I think, and I think that Virat Kohli brand of cricket is really important going into an away series, where sometimes when we've gone away from India, or we've almost been like a rabbit in headlights, where we've lost the game before even a ball's been balled. I think I don't see that in this side. I see us actually being the aggressor, if that makes sense, going abroad, and I think that's a lot down to Virat Kohli and Ravi Shastree. I think he's going to take some credit for this as well, right? Because I think he is almost a mirror image of Virat Kohli off the field, if that makes sense. So it's exciting in terms of Test match point of view. I think we'll be very competitive. I'm going to leave the predictions in terms of how we think India are going to do in South Africa, England, and Australia at the end of the broadcast. But I want to move on to the one-day side of things, right? And I'm going to try not to mention too much that fateful day in England at the final too much, right? But I think it's only right that we revisit that day. But we also put the context of the successes we've had this year, because we've had a phenomenal limited overs year. We've won series back to back in ODI formats. Traditionally, we haven't been great in T20s, but we've had an okay T20 year as well. We performed fairly well. Fair enough. The opposition haven't been great, bar Australia. But New Zealand were a pretty good side in ODI cricket. They made the semi-finals of the World Cup, so they're a performing side as well. So, actually, let's start with yourself. How do you summarise India's ODI or limited over, should I say, year in 2017?
Well, if it wasn't for that one final, I would say outstanding, faultless almost. Obviously, the final did happen, and it was a bad day for all. But I still think overall, we're at the top of our games within ODIs. Any tournament we go to anywhere in the world now, I'd put us down as strong favourites. Any T20 World Cup, Champions Trophy World Cup, we're right up there, because we are without doubt the best in the world. We've had a consistent team over the years. What I find interesting, you look at the likes of England, who have almost a completely separate Test side to their limited over side, whereas with India, there's a lot of crossover. Hardik Pandya now becoming a Test player, when as far as I'm concerned, he should be an ODI player. But the only thing you've got to watch out for going forwards is fatigue. We talked about the fitness just now, but they're playing a lot of cricket, and it's the same players playing in the Test matches, the ODIs, T20s without a break. It's been a fantastic year, and to keep that going over a long period of time, we do need to sort of mix it up a bit and have specialist players within ODIs in comparison to Test matches to ensure that level of performance continues, because the amount of cricket Indian team are playing at the moment, we've got a fantastic side, but that's one thing I think we need to be careful of.
Fair enough. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, where do you think the contentious positions are in the ODI side at the moment? Again, a lot of debate about our best 11 in the one-day international format.
Well, I think it's the middle order with the bat. They've stuck with Kedar Jadhav for a long time now. I'm not sure why. I don't rate him as a batsman. He's been a useful part-time bowler for us, but as a batsman, what he's in the side for, he hasn't performed enough to keep his place as far as I'm concerned. You look at the Champions Trophy final. We had Yuvraj Singh there. I think his time is now finished with Team India. Been a great servant of Indian cricket, but it's time to look forward now. In the recent ODI series, we've been playing Shreyas Iyer. And I think that's the way forward. In that middle order where there's a bit of uncertainty of who's going to be in the side, batting at 5 or 6, I think we have to look towards the youngster now and look forward. We spent enough time looking at sort of early 30s, late 20s sort of players, but there's a real opportunity here now to blood in the youngster and back them to the hill and give them opportunities to become the next best ODI batsman. And is that Shreyas Iyer? Is that someone else? Manish Pandey's not so young anymore. He's had a few chances, but I think that for me, that's the only sort of discussion point, is the number 5, number 6 slot. I think you've muted yourself, Rax.
Sorry, it's a good point you make with regards to some of the fringe players, if you like. And it's someone like Kedar Jadhav. Rajul, maybe you can come in here. Why do you think the Indian selectors, the Indian hierarchy, keep persisting with Kedar? They're obviously seeing something in him which some of the the hardcore Indian cricket fans who sort of comment on the game can't see, or are getting frustrated with. So what's your view? What do you think that they're seeing in him as a player, which perhaps we're not seeing?
It's hard to say what they see him as a player, because as Rishi said, we haven't really seen really good performance out of him yet. But it's quite possible it's the captain and the others who have the trust, or maybe he's in the bigger plan for the coming 3 overseas trips. But I'll probably pick Pandey instead of him, because he performed and proved himself in the past. Age is definitely he's not young. He's not getting too old either, so he can play for us for the next World Cup and probably for a few more years after that. But for overseas too, so you really need to look for your guys who performed in the past. You know, if you have experienced bunch, go with them. Because if you're taking youngsters to an overseas tour, it's too much for them to learn. There's pressure out there. If you look at into probably England is not the problem, but if you look at Australia and South Africa, the local crowd is pretty loud and get into your head. The media along with it, it's too much pressure on young players to perform. Uh, when Indian team go and play in England, it's the other way around. I always feel like you know, there's more support for Indian team than English team in England, so they don't feel that pressure there. But Australia and South Africa, you know, you need to take players who are mentally tough as well, apart from their natural gifted cricket talent. So Hande has performed in the past. The other is not there yet, so I'll probably go with him because he performed. And age is not a big issue for me at this stage if you're comparing the two age-wise.
Fair enough. What's your thoughts, Rishi? I mean, have you got an answer to the Kadayalo conundrum? You know, do you see a reason why? No. So, do you see a reason why?
I really don't understand why he's in the team. We saw in the Champions Trophy, wasn't good with the ball. I mean, didn't perform with the bat. Wasn't a good fielder as well. I think it's somewhere. It's the captain and the coach need to sit down, and I mean, I'm sure they must have had this conversation that they want to take him forward. They have him in the plans for the future, and that's the only reason why he's still in the team. And I think what the interesting part about the upcoming series is that that Indian team has taken 4 extra fast bowlers to South Africa. I know they're not in the team, but they are going there. They'll be getting a good idea of the conditions. They'll get an idea of the atmosphere, how the ball is seeming and all. And coming to the long season, I think it's a very good decision to take some extra fast bowlers to different countries like England, South Africa, and Australia. And we never know. I mean, we might have to replace a fast bowler, and we might have someone ready there who can perform in the conditions. So I think I don't see Kedar Jadhav any reason why he's still in the team.
Okay,
So,
fair enough. Well, look, I think the Kedar Jadhav question mark or debate will keep going, right? Because until we get a performance for him or a consistent level of failures, I think they're going to keep persisting with him, right? Because they keep picking him, you know, they keep playing him, you know, so they must see something in him that perhaps we haven't yet seen, you know. And I guess, look, to some degree, I kind of respect that, you know. You have to give credit to the coach and the captain for persisting in a player which they believe in, you know. And again, I'll revert back to years gone by where we used to chop and change players every time they failed a couple of matches, you know. So if you look at his average, it's not a terrible average, you know. You have to give credit where credit's due. It's not a terrible average, albeit has he really performed when it mattered, you know, when we needed him in the Champions Trophy, when we needed a solid middle order batsman to perhaps stick around for a bit, you know, he wasn't really able to do that, right? So I think that question mark we're not going to answer today, unfortunately. But I think on the whole, we've got a pretty settled squad rather than a settled 11, I would say, in the ODI circuit. You know, we can chop and change players, bring in players like Suresh Iyer, who I think is the next big thing in Indian cricket. Now, I've been following him for a while now. The kid's got tremendous talent, you know, and I think he's got a long career in Indian cricket. But also we've got people like Manish Pandey, who, you know, who's a seasoned cricketer. You know, he's played lots of Ranji Trophy cricket. He's had a long career in domestic cricket, and I think we're starting to see a player who potentially at international level can add a lot of value to Team India in spaces perhaps where we maybe persisted with players too long, like Yuvraj Singh, you know. So I think from an ODI point of view, I think we've got a pretty good squad, right? And I think we'll compete like we have been competing over a number of years abroad as well. So I wanted to sort of take a point to sort of discuss, you know, what we thought about the all-rounder slots in the Indian team, right? So all-rounder stroke spinning. Let's talk at all-rounder stroke spinning slots, because Ashwin and Jadeja have kind of lost their places in the ODI side recently. When you speak to, or you listen to, should I say, Ravi Shastri and Virat Kohli, what they are saying is that they're persisting with Kuldeep and Chahal because they deserve their spaces in the spots because of their performances. If we think about 2018 and we think about 2019 with the World Cup coming on, do we think that Chahal and Kuldeep are the pair that we should be persisting with for the World Cup, or do you think we need a different outlook on sort of the makeup of our spin bowling trio, if you like, in the squad? What's your thoughts, Akshay? Because you've got some opinion on all four bowlers, right? So what's your thinking on the spinning trio?
Yeah, well, I'm a very big fan of Kuldeep and Chahal. You've got Chahal, who's a brilliant leg spinner. Kuldeep, left arm Chinaman, very unique. You don't get that often these days, and they're exciting prospects. And I'm all for having Jadeja and Ashwin filling up the test team, and young Chahal and young Kuldeep Yadav filling up the ODI team. And they've come into the side kind of out of nowhere and settled in so quickly, getting wickets, keeping runs down. And I think going forward we have to make a decision on which spin pair we're going to go with, rather than chopping and changing, bringing Jadeja back in, so on and so forth, and stick with them. With World Cups coming up, I think those two are certainly the two options, as far as I'm concerned, to go with. They will be the future, and we've all seen already in the short time that they have played that they're good enough at this level as well. So I think they're certainly the two bowlers that I would go with for if we're picking two spinners. In terms of all-rounder, obviously Hardik Pandya picks himself. He's been absolutely brilliant in the ODI circuit. I think he should be batting at 4. We experimented with him batting at 4. I think it works well, especially with the uncertainty in the middle order. And in terms of seam bowlers, the two names that walk into the side of Bumrah, been absolutely brilliant. And Bhuvi, whether we're playing a third seam or not, probably not with Hardik Pandya as the all-rounder, and with our spin options, but Bhuvi and Bumrah pick themselves, really.
Bhuvi the all-rounder, yeah?
Well, no, Hardik Pandya the all-rounder. Bhuvi I wouldn't regard as an all-rounder, but he can swing from the hip.
All right, fair enough. Rishi, what about you? What was your thoughts on our best spinning attack going into 2018 and obviously looking forward to 2019?
I think it's really interesting the way Kuldeep and Chahal have performed, because they've picked up wickets, they've not given away runs, and they've been match winners for us. So it will be really unfair on their part if we not pick them up for the ODI series, because they've been continuous, consistent performers. And I think for Ashwin and Jadeja to come back in the team, they would have to perform really well in the Test series and tell the selectors that they're still in the contention for getting back into the Indian cricket team ODI squad, especially Ashwin, because he hasn't performed in the Champions Trophy. We didn't see him picking up wickets. So I think going into the 2018 and 2019 World Cup, I think Kuldeep Yadav is an automatic choice, being the Chinman leg spinner. So I would definitely pick him up for the 2019 World Cup. But if given a choice, I would get back Jadeja and have these three spinners, Jadeja, Chahal and Yadav. So these three pick of spinners.
Yeah, you know what? Part of me thinks that the element of surprise is probably what we need in the Indian side now, right? Because Ashwin and Jadeja have been around for a while, and because of the likes of the IPL, a lot of international cricketers would have had a lot of exposure to Jadeja and Ashwin, and probably learned how to play them a lot more in ODI limited overs cricket as well. So part of me thinks that okay, I know these Chahal and Kuldeep would have played IPL as well, but you're talking about 4 over slots here, so not a lot of players would have got that much exposure to those two bowlers, right? So I tend to agree with you guys. I tend to think that like Rishi said, you've got to give credit to the bowlers that are performing, are taking wickets. I think it's really unfair that when they're bowling so well to drop them. The other thing is they're hunting really well in packs as well as a pair. They seem to really complement each other as well.
Yeah. Just what Jadeja and Ashwin used to do for us every time, every series, hunt in packs. So that's what Yadav and Yuzvendra Chahal have been doing for us in the ODI and T20s.
Yeah, and I think what Akshay said is really important as well, right? There's very few left-arm Chinaman bowlers at the moment. And, there's a lot of cricketers that just don't know how to read a left-hand Chinaman bowler, right? So so I think that element of surprise going into these away series, but also looking forward to giving these bowlers some overs in tough, high-pressure situations will only benefit us come 2019. I want to move on, right, to a question which I think a few people are really struggling to get a consistent answer on, right, is which is the best position for Mahendra Singh Dhoni, right, in the build-up to the World Cup. Now, I'm going to take it that we're all MSD fans still, and we all think he should be in the World Cup squad. Can I get a thumbs up?
Yeah.
Good. So, Akshay, let's start off with yourself. Where do you think MS Dhoni's best position is in the ODI side? Again, thinking ahead into the World Cup.
Well, I don't actually think he has a position. I think he's the one player that can play as a floater. I think in recent years that's what he's done. Whenever we've needed some stability, he's the experienced head that can come in at 4 or 5, just to settle things down. Be on the other end if you got a youngster like Shreyas to guide and to finish the game off. There's other times where he's batted at 6 or 7 and played the finisher role, albeit he's not as effective in the finisher role. But we all know he's got it in him. So I think that's where he will remain as the floater, and depending on the match situation, that's where he'll come in. And his versatility is really, really useful. Not a lot of people can play both roles: the finisher role to get quick runs at the end, and the role to build an innings and ensure that you keep wickets in hand.
Well, Rajul, do you agree with that? Because I kind of agree with Akshay to a certain degree, right? And maybe years gone by, I think Dhoni was perfect for that type of role. But we've seen recently, just in the recent T20 series, where Rohit's kind of backed MSD to come up, and he's not his kind of run rate, you feel like, he's kind of runs to balls hasn't been of the MSD of old, and it kind of frustrates quite a few fans as well, because he's almost using up too many balls. Do you think he's still got it in him to play that kind of floater role where he can have an impact, be that kind of impact player that he perhaps was in the past? Do you think he has that kind of ability in him still? Where do you think is his best position?
I think his best position, based on his current strike rate and the way he's playing, would be around number 4 and 5. And I'll give the finisher role to Pandya and others in the team. So as you said, now he's taking time to set up his innings, and then he makes a score and hits at the end of the inning. But he's not the old Dhoni we all used to, or who used to just start hitting from ball 1. So he's perfectly suited for number 4 or number 5 in the team. If we have a collapse, he would be the one to hold the innings, or if we're doing well, he would do well at that number 4 and 5 position. So in my 11, that would be the spot he will pick. I'll probably put him on number 5. If there's a collapse, you send him on number 4. But if things are going fine, number 5.
All right, Rajul, thanks for that. Rishi, I can see you itching to get in. I know that MSD is you're a big fan of his. So where do you see him fitting into the squad? What's your thoughts?
I would 100% agree with Rajul what he said. I mean, having Dhoni at number 4 or number 5 is the best position that he can bat on. I mean, I was there in Dharamsala when the entire Indian cricket team batting collapse happened. And it was a lone man, MS Dhoni, performed for us and took us to that total of 113. I mean, we would need a player like MSD who can come in and bat and, can hold on to the Indian innings, and if there's a collapse happening at the other end. And, having played cricket for 13 years now at the international circuit, I think he's well suited with the conditions, every country, and he knows when to go for it and when not to go for it.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, yeah, I agree with you. I think his role in the Indian team is kind of changed now, hasn't it? That's the most important thing for us to consider. That he wasn't. Well, he probably hasn't got it in him anymore to be that kind of destructive middle order batsman who can really destroy an attack in the last 5-10 overs or so. But he could definitely build an innings, and his experience, like you said, in Dharamsala, was a really good example of how we were in trouble, and he kind of carried us through to a respectable, defendable score. So I kind of agree with you on that. I think kind of a little bit higher up in the order, where perhaps we lose 1 or 2 wickets quite quickly, he can add that kind of level of stability with that level of experience and guide the team to a score. So I kind of agree with you on that. All right, look. So I think we're kind of come to a kind of some sort of starting 11. I think it's quite difficult in ODI cricket because a lot of it is down to, again, where we're playing, the conditions of the pitch, the makeup of the squad that we want. But I think, like in the Test side, we've got a bench strength there where we could probably pick from 20 odd players and pick 11 players from that 20 odd players, and it would be a very, very competitive side, you know. So thanks for your opinions on the ODI side. Coming to kind of the end of the kind of podcast now, right, if you like. Well, we've got a couple of points I want to just reflect on. So I wanted to ask each of you kind of before we sort of decide on sort of what our thoughts are for the 2018 series, I wanted to ask you your highlights for 2017 and sort of one thing that kind of sticks out in your own mind, maybe from a match that you've been to, a tournament that you've been part of, or something that you've actually witnessed on TV. What's kind of been your highlight of 2017? Let's start off with you, Rajul. What would you say is been your kind of highlight of 2017 from an Indian cricket point of view? Test match, ODI, an innings by an individual, performance by an individual. What's been your highlight?
As I said, the way the team has evolved now, you know, that the hunger for a win, not settling for a draw or clinching the game back from where everyone says it's going to be one-sided or India is out of the game. That's the thing I can start seeing in our team now, and not just once off. You can see it in pretty much every game. That's the mind frame they go and play with. So as a supporter group and looking at the 2018, that's what we need in a team. So that's the best thing I've found in the team and the highlights I want to talk about.
All right, Rajul, what are you looking forward to the most in 2018?
I want them to win the series in Australia and South Africa as well. These are the two places where I really want them to go and perform. I'm very confident they're going to win in England this time. The way English team is playing in Australia, I think their morale would be down. They have some issues. Ben Stokes, I'm not sure whether he's going to come back to the team when. Plus the support you guys give to Indian team in UK, they feel like playing at home. So I'm very confident they're going to win in UK, but I'm really looking forward for them to do the same in South Africa and Australia.
All right, so let's have your predictions. The 3 big series next year. Let's start off with South Africa. Are we going to win that series, draw that series, or lose that series?
I'm not too confident that they're going to win in South Africa. If we level the series, that would be a really good outcome based on that. But this team is the one which can surprise us, and I'm really looking forward for them to do that. So I would probably say draw the series in South Africa, win the series in England, and probably win the series in Australia as well.
All right, I'll take that. 2 out of 3. And just before we move on to Rishi, what can Bharat Army and Indian cricket fans around the world expect from Bharat Army in Australia? Because you're going to be key to driving Bharat Army forward in Australia for us. So give us an idea of what we can expect and put some perspectives to what you've done with Adelaide Blue Crew as well.
Oh yeah, so for those who are not aware, Blue Crew Adelaide Strikers fan group, Adelaide Strikers is a Big Bash team, is powered by Bharat Army guys here in Adelaide. So we pretty much give Big Bash guys the same sort of an experience we create for Indian games. And when Indian team would be here in Australia, would be supporting them in each and every game, all the 4 test matches. We'll be traveling with the team. We'll probably try to stay in the same hotel where the team is and try to organize some other events around the team. And whether it's on the ground, off the ground, wherever they need our support, we'll be there.
Good stuff. Brilliant. Thanks, Rajul. Rishi, let's move on to you. Give us your highlights for 2017 and then followed by your predictions for the next 3 big series coming up.
I think coming into 2017, the best part for me was we didn't lose a single series. Right? Keeping aside the Champions Trophy, most of the series we were down, lost the first game, and then we came back from behind and won the series. Giving credit to every single player we had in the team, especially the bench strength. I mean, this way we got to, mix and match so many players that weren't in the playing 11. So this year we had like a lot of new players coming in and everyone performing up to their expectations. So I think that's something that we look up to in 2018. And coming to the 3 series, I think, I'm always hoping for a win every single match and every single series. So South Africa, I think we haven't got enough time to prepare for that series. So I would go for a draw. England, definitely a win there. Australia, I'm 100% sure that we're going to win down under. Virat Kohli is very eager to perform there once again, and it's a win there as well.
All right, I love your optimism, Rishi. Akshay, what about you? What's been your highlight for 2017, and what do you think we'll do in 2018?
I think it's very difficult to pick one particular highlight. But if I was to say one thing that stuck out for me in 2017, it would be sort of the uprising of Hardik Pandya. I think this is the year where he's gone from being a youngster to a superstar.
Really?
By in the limited overs
Oh.
team. Yeah, not Test cricket. That could be for next year. I hope you prove me wrong, or he proves me wrong, and turns into a superstar in the test side. But certainly in the ODI side, we've got a superstar now. He's been, he's cemented his place in the side. He's exciting to watch, and 2017 has been his year. He's the new superstar of Indian cricket. So that's what's excited me the most about this year. Moving forward into next year, my predictions: I think we're going to win in South Africa. I think as much as I want us to win in England, I just think those conditions that we've always suffered with in recent years. So I think I'll take a draw in England. Of course, we'd want to win there. But Australia, I think that's where I'm most confident of going away and winning, just because out of the three sides, I think Australia have the weakest test side, albeit doing really, really well in the Ashes at the moment. But if I was to place a bet, I'd be most confident in us winning down under in Australia.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, look, from my point of view, I think I think highlight for 2017. I was a bit skeptical about. I think like a lot of Indian fans were about Virat Kohli, the captain, right, and his kind of mentality. His nature as an individual. I think he's matured tremendously. I don't know if Anushka Sharma's got anything to do with it, right? But I definitely think he's matured, tremendously as a captain, and I think he's grown as an individual. And I think if you look historically at all the great Test playing sides and all the great cricket sides, they've always had an inspirational leader who leads by example. So if you take the Australia side, someone like Ricky Ponting, he led by example. Before him, there was captains who led by example. Even if you look at the England side, when they had someone like an Alistair Cook who led by example, the South Africa side, the captains led by example. And I think every great Test playing side has to have a captain who leads by example. Like you said, someone has said earlier on, Joe Root struggling, and as a result of that, the England team struggling. And I think the biggest thing that's come out of 2017 for me is how the captains' form, first of all, has been very, very consistent, and as a result, that kind of creates a bit of calmness in the side, that we've got somebody there who we can depend on, and he's rubbing off on other players. He's 100% having an impact on the other 10 players in the squad, and I think he is a catalyst to anything we do in 2018. So I believe if Virat Kohli has a successful series in South Africa, England and Australia, I think India will have a successful series. So where do I think he will be successful? Well, I'm not sure about South Africa because I'm not sure how much cricket he's played in South Africa, right? So I'd probably put that one down as either a draw or a loss, if I'm brutally honest. And also what Rishi said, I think we've not had much time to prepare there, right? So that is also something we need to consider. I definitely think he's got a point to prove in England. He had a shocking 2014. He personally has said that 2014 was one of the lowest points in his career where he really performed badly. So I think he's got a big point to prove in England. And I think if he performs well in England, I think India will do well in England as well. And I think 2018 in Australia, I thought we played really, really well last time we were in Australia. And we were really unlucky to lose that series. I thought we played phenomenal cricket. We played a very aggressive style of cricket. We had one or two matches which could have gone either way. And I think come Australia, I think we'll win that series as well. So I think win 2 series against Australia and England, and perhaps lose or draw the South Africa series. But I think we've got a lot to look forward to. And I think our captain is a catalyst to any of our performances going forward in 2018. So listen, guys, those are my thoughts. I just wanted to say thank you all for spending an hour on your Christmas day on this broadcast. I really appreciate your time. To all the Indian cricket fans who will watch this broadcast and liked what we did here today, we're going to be doing another review of the South Africa series at the end of the South Africa Test match series and one day international series, should I say. But you'll be able to catch all of our future previews and reviews on our YouTube channel. We'll also post them across our social media. But thank you for watching. Please comment. Tell us if you like it. If you want to get involved, please email us at info@bharat-army.com. Thanks again, and good luck to Team India in 2018. Guys, thanks very much. Really appreciate
No worries.
it.
Cheers.
Take care, guys. Happy Christmas, everyone.
Happy Christmas.